Hello children, welcome back. Yesterday we have discussed about hypothalamus, pituitary gland. I gave you introduction of endocrine system also. So these were the topics we discussed yesterday. In today's topic we are going to discuss about pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland and thymus as well as pancreas. Okay, then we'll be left with adrenal gland and gonads, testis and ovary. This we'll be discussing in our next class. For today we are discussing these glands, right? So let's get started. First, pineal gland. Pineal gland is a small gland that is located in the dorsal side of brain. So this is front side, this is back side. I said you back side means dorsal side. Here we have pineal gland, here we have pituitary gland, here we have pineal gland. Pituitary gland itself is very small, then pineal gland is smaller than that also, right? What is the hormone that is secreted by this pineal gland? Only one hormone, melatonin. Melatonin is very important in maintaining biological clocks. What is biological clock? Our body follows a schedule. See, if you are sleeping every day at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., you get sleep. Even if you do not go to sleep, you start getting sleep if you are sitting in a chair also at 9 o'clock. The same time, if you are eating food every day by 12:30 afternoon, 12:30 p.m., so the same thing happens every day. You will feel hungry at 12:30. So this system of biological cycle operates because of melatonin. Even the sleep-wake cycle, when you are sleeping, when you are waking, that is maintained by this melatonin, right? So that is the important function of this melatonin. Next gland is thymus gland. Where is this thymus gland located? Thymus gland is located above heart and back of sternum. What is sternum? Sternum is a bone that is present in your front of your rib cage. This is your rib cage, and a bone that is attached to front side of rib cage is called as sternum, this bone. And here is your heart and here is your thymus, back of sternum. Okay, this is your thymus. In front of that only sternum is present. So this is your heart, right? So what is the function of thymus gland? It releases thymosin. Thymosin is a hormone that is released by this thymus gland. It acts on T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes, what are T lymphocytes? You might have heard about lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are the white blood cells, A granulocytes, one type of A granulocytes, WBC. They are produced actually in bone marrow. Why it is here? So this type of lymphocytes which are produced by thymus gland are called T lymphocytes. Usually B lymphocytes are the lymphocytes that are produced by bone marrow. So lymphocyte production occurs in two locations in our body. One is in thymus, second one is in bone marrow. In bone marrow, if it is produced, it is called as B lymphocytes. In thymus, if it is produced, it is called as T lymphocytes. So thymosin is also produced in thymus gland, and T lymphocytes are also produced in this thymus gland only. What happens when thymosin acts on T lymphocyte? It is converted into two types of cells. Two types of cells. This process is called as differentiation. Differentiation we have already discussed. I already told you zygote is a single cell. When we start our life, we start our life as a single cell, but later on our body is differentiating into different types of cells like brain cells, heart cells, muscle cells. This all is nothing but one cell is deviating, modifying itself into different types of cells, and this process is called as differentiation. Here also the same thing is happening. One type of cell is modifying itself into two different types of cells, and that is also a type of differentiation. After differentiation, type 1, first type, helps in cell mediated immunity, and second type of cells help in humoral immunity. Okay, so altogether the function of thymus gland, main function of thymus gland is maintaining immunity. What is immunity? Disease fighting mechanism in our body. What happens in disease fighting mechanism? First thing what happens is pathogens are killed. Main thing that happen is pathogens are killed. So in two ways these pathogens are killed. What happens in first type is, so this is the cell and here some pathogen is located. This one enters into the cell and inside the cell it is killed, it is degraded. This type of immunity is called as cell mediated immunity. Type 2, this is the cell, here then pathogen is identified, cell releases some chemicals and kills the pathogens. Okay, cell is here, the pathogen is killed outside. So this is called as humoral immunity because it occurs in cellular spaces, intercellular spaces are also called as humerus. Okay, so that is the reason it is called as humoral immunity. I hope it's clear. Thymus, main function of thymus is maintaining immunity in our body. It releases thymosin as well as T lymphocytes. Thymosin acts on T lymphocytes and modifies it into two types of cells. One is maintaining cell mediated immunity and second one is responsible for humoral immunity. Cell mediated immunity is pathogen is taken inside the cell and it is destroyed inside the cell. In humoral immunity, the cell releases certain chemicals which kills the pathogen in the intercellular spaces. Right, that is the function of thymus gland. Next, moving to the third type of gland, that is thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, where is it located? So this is our larynx, this is our trachea, and we have our thyroid gland in this way, right? So this is our thyroid gland. Here we have larynx and here we have trachea. These are two lobes of thyroid glands. In between there is a tissue called isthmus. Isthmus is the tissue that connects the two lobes of thyroid gland. Thyroid gland has two lobes. They are connected by isthmus. Okay. In this thyroid gland there are three types of cells. One is cells of thyroid glands are follicular cells, parafollicular cells, stromal cells. Stromal cells are those cells which give support to these two type of cells. Supports follicular cells and parafollicular cells. Okay, follicular cells in the thyroid gland are arranged in a circular form. So these are the circular follicular cells, and in between it leaves a cavity. This is a cavity. Okay, inside this cavity two hormones are produced. hormones that are produced inside this cavity. First one is thyroxine, or it is also called as triiodothyronine, okay, or it is called T3. Second one is tetraiodothyronine, and it is called as T4. Both of these are produced inside the cavity of follicular cells, and both of them have a common function. What is the common function? They maintain basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate. The rate at which metabolism should occur in our body. How do they maintain? They increase oxygen absorption. Why oxygen absorption increases? When more amount of glucose is converted into energy, more amount of ATP molecules are produced. This ATP is required for everyday energy. Based on our everyday energy, oxygen will be used up for the oxidation of glucose. At that time, what happens? Metabolism will increase, right? So very simple, oxygen is utilized for ATP production. If oxygen is utilized for ATP production, what is happening? Glucose is oxidized. That means metabolism is increasing. In that way, these two, triiodothyronine and tetraiodothyronine, maintain basal metabolic rate. Apart from that, because this process is occurring, heat balance also occurs in our body, and water balance also occur in our body. Electrolyte balance also occur in our body. Okay, these three are balanced by the same two hormones, thyroxine and T4, tetraiodothyronine, right? So one important thing about this iodine and tetraiodothyronine is, you can see iodo. So iodine is required to produce these two hormones in our body. That's why you are advised to take iodized salt. Iodized salt has some amount of how much our body needs, daily requirement of iodine. It's very small. That small amount is present in the salt, and it helps in normal functioning of the thyroid gland and normal production of thyroid hormones. Okay, what about this parafollicular cells? It also produces a hormone. What is the hormone that it is producing? I'll say you. Just give me a minute, I'll say you. Parafollicular cells produce a hormone called calcitonin, which is also called as thyrocalcitonin. Thyrocalcitonin is a hormone that maintains calcium and phosphate levels in blood. Maintains calcium and phosphate levels in blood. How they maintain? If there is more amount of calcium and phosphate in blood, calcium and phosphate are more in blood, then what it does is it just helps them to be absorbed by bone. Okay, it increases bone absorption of calcium and phosphate. Calcium and phosphate increases, and blood calcium level reaches normal. Okay, in that way it maintains the level of calcium and phosphate in blood. If there is more, that is absorbed by blood. That's all, right? Okay, there is what happens if the calcium and phosphate level are less in blood. Okay, if it is more, bone will absorb. Sometimes there is a chance that there is less amount of calcium and phosphate in blood also. What happens? We have another set of hormones, another set of glands called as parathyroid glands. Parathyroid glands are, where they are located? See, again I'll draw this larynx, trachea, but from back side. Okay, this I am drawing from back side. So here is our one lobe, here is our second lobe, and that is thyroid gland. So this is our parathyroid gland. This is our parathyroid glands. Okay, so one pair on each lobe of thyroid gland. These are parathyroid glands. They secrete a hormone called as parathormone. They secrete a hormone called as parathormone, or it is also called as parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone or parathormone has one function, that it increases blood calcium and phosphate. How it increases? Reverse process of calcitonin. What calcitonin does? If there is more calcium and phosphate, it gives it to bone. Parathormone does it in reverse. It takes from bone to blood. Okay, it dissolves from bone to blood. One thing. Second thing, sometimes our urine excretes excess amount of calcium, so reabsorbs from urine, primary urine that is formed. The first formed urine is called as primary urine. From this primary urine, calcium is reabsorbed, then final urine will be excreted outside, right? Next, third thing, from our gut. From gut, that is digested food has calcium in that will be reabsorbed. And for this last process to occur, vitamin D is required. Vitamin D is required for the gut reabsorption. Okay, vitamin D is generally called as calciferol. Do you remember calciferol is the name of vitamin D which we studied in chapter 1. So this calciferol is inactive form, just like the hormones which we have studied, the enzymes which we have studied, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen. Here calciferol is inactive form. That should be converted into an active form called calcitriol. Then only it helps in absorption of calcium from gut. Okay, so parathormone performs its function, that is increasing blood calcium and phosphate by three ways. It absorbs from bone to blood, or it reabsorbs from primary urine, or it takes from gut. Okay, in these three ways it increases blood calcium and phosphate. If it is more in blood, again that will be taken by bone. Okay, so that is it, children, about parathyroid hormone. Vitamin D is usually in the inactive form calciferol, that is converted into active form calcitriol. Then it helps in calcium absorption from digestive system. And the last gland that we are going to discuss for today is pancreas. Pancreas is called as a mixed gland. Why is it called as a mixed gland? It has both endocrine part as well as exocrine part. Okay, see, let us see. Pancreas is composed of endocrine part and exocrine part. A part of pancreas is called as pancreatic acini. It secretes pancreatic juice, and this travels through a small duct, pancreatic duct. That's why it is called as exocrine part or exocrine gland. Second part is islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans, they secrete hormones directly into blood. This is called as endocrine part. So that is why, since exocrine and endocrine part are present in same gland, they are called as mixed glands. Pancreas is called as mixed glands. In this islets of Langerhans, there are alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells secrete a hormone called as glucagon. Beta cells secrete a hormone called insulin. Okay, what is the function of glucagon? Glucagon converts glycogen into glucose. Okay, when blood sugar is very low, we are not eating from a long time, we are starving, or it has passed 4 hours after eating food, during all that time blood has less sugar, blood has less glucose. Okay, this leads to release of glucagon. Glucagon helps in conversion of glucogen into glucose. This process is called as glycogen into glucose. This process is called as glycogenolysis. Okay, glycogen is a complex carbohydrate. It is a stored carbohydrate. And the stored carbohydrate is in a very complex form. So many glucose molecules are there in that. It breaks down and converts into small molecules called glucose, which enters into blood, and blood glucose levels are normal. Blood glucose should be normal, because then only oxidation occurs and energy is released. Right. The second side of this is when blood glucose is more. Blood glucose is more. When blood glucose is more, what happens? The reverse of the function occurs, that is glucose is converted into glycogen and it is stored in liver fat cells called adipocytes. Okay, fat cells called adipocytes. In the form of fat it is stored. Glycogen will finally converted into fat, then it is stored. Okay, so first glycogen is entering into liver and adipocytes, there it is converted into fats. Okay, that is a different process, it's not involved in this mechanism. Glucose is converted into glycogen and it is stored in liver and fat, and this process helps to reduce the amount of glucose inside the blood. Okay, this process is called as glycogenesis. Genesis means synthesis of glycogen is happening here, so that is called as glycogenesis. Okay, there is a condition when beta cells do not produce insulin. This condition is called as diabetes mellitus, or in simple terms it is called as blood sugar. This is called as sugar, simply sugar. Okay, what happens? Glucose is not converted into glycogen, no fat, though no stored energy in our body. These people cannot starve, so they should not try to starve. They cannot go for fasting and all, so they should not fast. They should eat regularly, because there is no stored fat. Okay, whatever glucose is there, it can be immediately used up, and that's all, or it is excreted out of body. It cannot be stored in a body. So very small intervals they should eat food for very small intervals, like for every 2 hours they should eat, and they should not eat excess. Limited amount of food they should eat, because glucose will be excess inside the blood. If glucose is more, what happens? Glucose is more, it is also harmful. It damages the organs also. It leads to fast infections also. There are so many complications that occur, right? So that is about pancreas, children. We have discussed today about pineal gland, we have discussed about thymus gland, thyroid, parathyroid and pancreas. And make it a point to write all the points in your notebook, children. Definitely I am going to check you when we are back to school. I'll check your notebooks and there should be definitely all the points written. Okay, children? Right.